NBA Finals preview featuring the Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm Adam, as always. I'm joined with Junior. Junior, are you ready? Let's go! Okay, Junior, before we jump into the finals preview that we're going to break down in detail here, we do have a promotion going right now for a PS5 giveaway. We want to let all the people who have entered through the various ways to do so to follow our IG, and following the completion of the NBA Finals, we're going to announce it on a story that night. So please subscribe to our IG, which is just up here at Offside and Out of Bounds. Okay, Junior, the NBA Finals is here. Are you surprised at the two teams that are matching up this year?
Let's just say that both teams kind of got lucky with injuries coming through the entire playoffs. It definitely happens. I think more so on Phoenix's side. They kind of missed having to play a 7-game series against Kawhi Leonard, banged up LeBron, banged up AD, Jamal Murray without the Nuggets. So they've kind of, I wouldn't say they're gifted because they still have to play the games and they still have to win, but there's been some obstacles that weren't in their way. And then on the Bucks side, that Nets series, once Harden was down, Kyrie was down, it definitely changed the face of that series. So a little bit of surprise in terms of the two teams that are here, but this is what happens. They won the games they needed to win. It's
been a great playoffs without LeBron's storylines constantly just hammering and kind of eating up. You've got a lot of opportunity to see a lot of different players, a lot of young players throughout the league and what the future looks like, and it looks bright.
Yeah, definitely.
But certainly a lot of injuries, and injuries are part of the game, and that's just how it is. Phoenix was also without Chris Paul due to COVID protocols for a bit, but they were still able to come over the hump there. We've got a pretty healthy agenda here, so let's take a look, starting off with the Bucks and kind of their path to glory. So beating Miami 4-0, Brooklyn 4-3, and then Atlanta 4-2. Of course, Trey was injured in a few of those games. What did you think about their path? Are they battle tested for Phoenix moving into the finals here?
I mean, I think they are. Let's talk about that first series against Miami. Butler basically stepped up and said he was ready to go and move this team, and he didn't make a peep. Series against Brooklyn, we all kind of know what happened. It's still fresh in a lot of Brooklyn's fans' minds. The missed opportunity there, but they still got through that. And then the Hawks, a couple of games without Trey is a huge issue with that offense not moving as well as it should with Trey in there. So
absolutely.
Obviously this series was a bit different there. But again, Giannis was down for a couple of games in that series too.
Absolutely.
And the emergence of Khris Middleton and Holiday they were monsters in those last two games to kind of wrap that series up. So, did they face the best quality in the East? No, they didn't. I'd say Brooklyn, probably was their best opponent, but again, two superstars down makes a huge difference in this series. So I wouldn't say they've beat the best teams.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been an interesting path overall. Again, injuries are part of the game, and that's just how it goes. But I don't think most people probably would have had Brooklyn making it to the finals, and there's no surprise there considering the plethora of talent they have within that team. Let's take a look at some of the breakdowns here. Now, obviously, Giannis is still up in the air in terms of questionability and his health regarding his Game 4 knee strain against Atlanta, and he hadn't played since. Looks like he's questionable for Game 1 and is not fielding any media at this time. Stats are pretty healthy, though, considering. I mean, there's no surprise that he's able to kind of push his way down the lane, score baskets that way. 28.2, 12.5 rebounds, assists per game at about 5 and a bit, blocks. I guess that's 1.4.
No, so 14 total.
14 total blocks.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. And then steals at 14.
I'm kind of impressed with the steals numbers. That means he's been really active, kind of wherever he needed to be.
Yeah.
But usually when a player doesn't show up for that media availability or they get excused from that availability, the likelihood is that they won't be playing in the next game, after that media availability requirement. So I'd probably chalk him to being out for Game 1. Probably good for them because it seems like they've been playing a lot better without him in the lineup than with him in the lineup. But you can definitely see the impact that this guy has on a game. just take his points and his rebounds, his assists, everything. He's doing everything. So you take his numbers out, it kind of hurts your chances a little bit.
And the Bucks are one of the better defensive teams in the league, right?
Are,
and almost number one in most of those categories. Also averaging the only team to average over 50 rebounds a game.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do that without Giannis on the floor. So
no.
Let's take a look at Middleton. And Perkins has come out and said, hey, Middleton is the Batman of this team and Giannis is the Robin of this team. And Middleton has showed his value here. And I think even, we knew what he's capable of doing, but I think we kind of coined him as like a 2.5 man, not a number 2 guy.
No.
Right? But he's been incredible.
He has. He definitely has.
Solid numbers here overall. 23.5 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 3-point percentage at 33%, and steals 14.
But hey, Perk, put those numbers up against Giannis. He's not Batman. Like, come on. Who comes up with stuff like that?
Kendrick Perkins.
My God. Just stick to talking about the Celtics, because you're never really right about anything outside of Boston. Anyway, he's gone off, but he's needed to go off, because if he hasn't had these numbers, and let's be honest, that second series, he did not show up at all. He was very quiet, so he did this pretty much, inflated these numbers in the Atlanta series.
Yeah,
unguardable. Atlanta just could not do anything to stop this guy. And he's had some absolutely monster quarters. So, I mean, can he carry this team without Giannis? I think he could. But I don't know if it's going to be carrying them to the Larry O.B. I mean, carrying them competitively, yes. I don't know about, 4-game championship run, but.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Let's take a look at the opposition here in the Phoenix Sun and their path. So, beating the Lakers 4-2. Again, some health issues on that team. Denver 4-0, no Murray, and then the Clippers 4-2. Paul George had an incredible series. Showed that he's has the ability to show up in the playoffs. But ultimately, the Suns have made it here. Any thoughts on kind of their opponents here?
Well, listen, I'll say one right now. I will shake everyone on that team's hand for putting LeBron out in the first round. Just absolutely love the playoffs without his annoying face and just his voice the entire time, because all the cameras are on him and everyone wants to know what LeBron's doing and what did he drive to the game, and I can't stand it. With the Denver series, I did not have them beating Denver. That was a shock to me. Them sweeping Denver, not just beating them, but sweeping them.
Yeah.
Some questionable officiating in that series, I would say, just a little bit. And then the Clippers, Paul George turned back into Indiana Pacers Paul George, and just wasn't enough to stop them. Their scoring is decent. Defense is a little bit questionable, but I don't think the Bucks are going to be putting up 140 a night, so they're probably pretty comfortable with the trade-off that they've got. So
yeah. Real quick, before we get to the two kind of key players on the Suns, Pat Beverly, I got to ask you, that Bush League move and the push, kind of, sucker push, if you will, on Chris Paul. What are your thoughts on that?
He is a walking, talking Black Air Force One.
I've heard that a few times.
This man is just violence. Like, there's no room for that. I mean, you don't see that in any other sport.
Yeah.
You look at hockey, okay? These guys go at each other, try to take each other's heads off. But at the end of it, you know what they do? They stand up, they skate down, they get in a line, and they shake every single player's hand. You 100%. Can't do stuff like that and then come out, I didn't really mean it like that. What do you mean you didn't mean a push?
Yeah.
Like, you didn't mean to push him? You're just trying to give him a hug? Like, I don't understand. That guy has been he does this all the time, so I'm not really surprised. It's just pure trash. Like,
I'm just glad CP3 didn't get hurt or anything, because you just never know, right?
Well, comebacks, throw a punch, break his hand, like there could have been so many variables there that just did not work out.
Okay, Book 27 points a game, 6.5 rebounds, almost 5 assists, 3-point percentage at 34, and steals at 13. He's gone off when he has to. I think there's a little bit of irritant with the mask. There's a little bit of uncomfortability there. I wonder if we'll see that throughout the Bucks series. But the D-Book's been incredible. He's really showed his leadership skills, and he's not the next Kobe Bryant, but you see elements of Kobe's game and some of that mentality that we've seen in the past from Kobe.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you take pieces from people's games to create your own, right? Absolutely. Everyone does it. There isn't a lot of guys of Book's generation that you can't say have a bit of Kobe in them, because they've always tried to do the turnaround, the double clutch dunk. Like everyone of that generation tries to do that stuff. But he has gone off, and he's going to need that mask, because this is going to be a very rough and tumble and physical series. The Bucks don't play, fast break basketball and it's all about showtime. No, they are a grinding team, and they'll grind you into a pulp. I could probably see PJ all over Book the entire series. So that's going to be a nice matchup to watch.
It's going to be very good.
That's going to test Book a lot, because we'll see how much Kobe he's got in him when he's got probably arguably one of the best wing defenders in the league on you.
Most definitely. And this is when you're going to see other guys on the Suns probably shine a little bit also. Ayton, Crowder, who, left Miami, who went to the finals last year to come to a Suns team that had question marks all over the place. But, he's been instrumental. Let's take a look at CP3, the point guard. Boy, do I want to see this man host a trophy this year.
Like, is he that one guy in the NBA right now that's getting older that just needs to get this ring and get it over with? The guy's still going to go into the Hall of Fame.
I think this is actually this is going to be the best story for him. Like, if you think about Chris Paul coming to the Phoenix Suns, who are not a playoff team, and getting these guys, yeah, sure, they picked up Jay Crowder, and there's these guys have broken out on the team, but Chris Paul doing it here, I mean, this is going to feel so sweet, because nobody expected this. This is going to be the story. I would love to see him win the MVP, and I think he's going to go off in this series. He's going to show people. He's going to leave it all out there, because this is what he has to do in order to beat the Bucks. The Bucks are a very sound defensive team, very good in rebounds, and that it's going to take every little ounce of these players to beat the Bucks. 18.1 points per game, just under 4 rebounds, almost 9 assists, 40% from 3, and 19 steals. I mean, this guy's no spring chicken.
No, he's a 16-year vet, It's a long time since he got drafted in what was it, 05. Spent time with New Orleans, then over to the Clippers, then to Houston, then to OKC, then to Phoenix. I mean, you're talking about, 4 or 5 teams, 4 teams in the last few years, and the guy's bounced around. Still arguably considered one of the best point guards in the league all during this time.
Yep.
Just could never he never had that big game in the playoffs to,
You know what? He got hurt in Game 5 of one of the Houston. I don't remember what year it was, but had he not got hurt in that game, I think they end up in the finals against. I think Braun on the other side there.
When he was in Houston, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Right, he got hurt Game 5. They were killing that series.
Yeah,
and it just didn't happen. But I'm happy to see him here. He's averaging great numbers, and I think these numbers are going to be a lot higher. He's a king of the mid-range. And it's going to show for sure. Want to look at the head-to-head matchup?
Let's go.
Let's do it. Okay. You want to break it down? Go ahead.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of numbers here, a lot of categories to take a look at. The one thing you're going to notice that they're fairly similar. You take the first half of the list from points per game to field goal percentage. They're all just fractions away.
Rebounds is a standout for me.
A little bit, yes, 5. But remember, Ayton is the big round mound of rebound right now in Phoenix.
The new
one. The one glaring thing that I look at here is that free throw percentage.
Free throws, we've talked about it before. In the playoffs,
are not going to win a game or a series shooting almost 70% from the charity stripe. I don't care who you are, what team you are. We've seen it. Everyone starts to make fun of the fact that it takes Giannis more than 10 seconds to get a shot off, and it's still 50-50 at best. He's the guy bringing that percentage down, but he's also the guy that is going to the rack the most and getting fouled the most.
Absolutely.
So that's a lot of points that are being left off the table. The other thing I look at is the 3-point percentage. The Suns like to shoot the three. CP3 can hit that big transition three when he needs to.
Absolutely.
Book is, almost unconscious from behind the arc. Crowder kicks in when he needs to.
Absolutely.
So there are shooters on that team. Bridges, they've got guys that can put the ball in the net from behind the arc. My concern is when I look at that Bucks team, Giannis is shooting like 18% from behind the arc, and he's got the ball in his hand the most out of anyone on that team. Middleton's decent, and he's I think 33% from behind. Holiday not much farther behind than that, but I don't see a lot of Connaughton, but I don't see outside of that. I don't see a lot of big time shooters that are going to help keep pace. Because the one thing with the Suns is if they get out to a 10-point lead, I'm sorry, but I would find it a hard time for the Bucks to get out of that hole.
That's when they just start running, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look because I know Lopez had a big game, the last game, and I know in past he's had the ability to hit some of those threes, but I don't think his percentage is anywhere near where these need to be.
Not consistently.
And then when you look at even free throws and free throw attempts, if Giannis isn't trying to drive that lane and steamroll everybody, does he actually? Do they get to the line as much? They probably won't be driving as much, right?
No.
Okay. Let's. What's your big key? What's your keys to this matchup, Junior?
My key number one for Phoenix is to do your best to screen the crap out of PJ Tucker, get Book off of him, get Book open shots.
So look for that switch.
Yeah, if you got to run him through 2 screens, 3 screens, whatever you got to do. Reggie Miller from the early 90s, run this guy through 8 screens just to get him open in the corner. Do what you got to do, because if PJ shuts down Booker,
definitely possible.
The Suns are going to be in trouble because that's a huge portion of their offense.
Mm-hmm.
Keys for the Bucks, I think it's going to be Giannis's health and what Budenholzer can do to react to what Phoenix is doing. Because if he's not going to make the right moves in-game adjustments, which Budenholzer's not good at, he needs to get better at the in-game adjustments. Whether that's going to be putting, Giannis at center or switching him off someone who's burning him. Like, you don't want to have Giannis guarding Booker because Booker will just burn him. And you got to make certain that you're making the right in-game adjustments to just basically try to neutralize Phoenix, because Phoenix will run. They have put up 130 points in the playoffs.
Definitely.
So they have the ability to score, but the Bucks have the ability to score too. But you have to make the right in-game adjustments, and if you don't, I think Phoenix is going to run away with it.
No, that's a great point. You saw a lot of that in the Phoenix Clippers series with Ty Lue. I mean, the amount of adjustments this guy made to stay in that series without Kawhi was unreal.
He didn't want to go home.
Some games. No, he did not. Okay, my keys. My keys are simple. They're not players. They're really two positions or two sets in basketball. It's really simple. It's the Phoenix Suns offense versus the Bucks defense. That's what this series is. The Bucks are elite defenders, some of the best in the game. I'm probably ranked number 1 overall or number 2 overall in the regular season. Rebounding, they're good perimeter defense. Interior is pretty good also. And then when you look at the Suns, they're an offensive team. They can run. They have shooters, mid-range, Crowder, The matchup is going to be, if Giannis comes back, whether or not Crowder or Bridges can try to slow him down a little bit. You're going to have to lean on him, put your weight on him, test that knee and what its durability feels like, and make it uncomfortable for Giannis. Because if he's uncomfortable, he's not going to play well, and he hasn't been probably conditioning himself. And we've seen what he's like in the fourth quarter sometimes when he's mouth breathing, which is going to be a big disadvantage for the Bucks. And I don't think as much as good as PJ Tucker is, and he will do a good job against Book, they're going to run many screens. You're going to have Chris Paul open. There's going to be a lot of options, essentially, where maybe he'll have to come off Book, put somebody else on him, and look for some help defense against some of the other players. So for me, it's just offense versus defense, and typically defense wins, but Suns offense, I think, is just going to be humming. I got a good feeling here. Okay, ultimately, who do you got?
Oh, geez. when I look at rebounding, right? Because these are huge aspects of the game. Defensive rebounds, number 1 is Milwaukee. Do you know who number 2 is?
Not the Suns.
It is the Suns.
In the playoffs?
In the playoffs. Defensive rebounds.
They have been better in the playoffs. In the regular season, I think they were dead last for rebounds.
But they're getting out-rebounded on the offensive glass. So that's the one place where they need help. But the thing that I think about when I'm a tactician and, I'm not going to say I'm a professional athlete because I'm not, but I played a lot of high-level varsity sports. The one thing I always look at when you're hunting, and that's the mindset you have to have right now. You're hunting for that Larry O.B. Yeah. You got to look for the weak links in the armor on both teams. And when I look at the Bucks, I'm going to run every screen. I'm going to run every offensive play at and through Giannis.
Yeah.
I'm going to put Giannis on his ass. Play after play after play after play after play. I'm going to make his life a living hell. And because he's such a huge cog for that the defense and the offense on Milwaukee, that you want to make his life uncomfortable. And if you have the ability to do that, you've won the series.
Yeah.
So when I look at the issue on Phoenix, it's just going to be Book's effectiveness, whether he's got to wear that face mask or whether he's not. And, but that's not something I'm going to be concerned about. I think the concerns on the Milwaukee side are far greater than the concerns on the Phoenix Suns side. So if I'm a betting man, I'm just going to bet the Suns to win every game. So if they win game 1, perfect. Game 2, I'm going to double my bet. Game 3, I'm going to double my bet. I'm going to keep doubling my bet until,
they win.
They win.
Yeah, I'm going to continue to ride the Suns. I think their offense is just going to be too much for a solid defense on the Bucks side. With Giannis' health being in question, I don't see him playing game 1, maybe even game 2. There's no point in rushing him back if he's not healthy, because if you try to play him in game 1 or 2, something happens and he's down for the series. It's just there's no value there for the Bucks to do that. Of course, I know they're going to want to try to get him in, and he's going to want to try to play as quickly as possible. But I think that might throw off their offense a bit too, because they've been playing decent without him. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be an adjustment period, which will probably cost them a game or 2. So I'm going to ride the Suns. I think it's going to go 6 games. I'm going to go 4-2 Suns.
Yeah, I think it might go 5.
It could be. It could be shorter.
I think it's going to be 5. I don't think this is going to be a long, drawn-out series. I think
you're going to see the best Chris Paul we've ever seen also.
He wants the ring, man. He's at that point where he actually has it. I mean, the guy's going to end up going in the Hall of Fame regardless of what people say.
First ballot.
The guy's been one of the top point guards, let's not say for the 16 years of his career, but maybe 10 of them.
Absolutely.
So you can't really argue greatness. And it's just he needs that ring, I think, just to put him on that pedestal with the other guys that he should be with. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, but I don't think it's going to be a long series at all.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, well, that wraps for us. I want to thank everybody for watching. The easiest way to help grow our channel is just to hit that like button, so please do that. If you want to comment below what your thoughts are, we'd love to read them, and we definitely respond to every comment that you drop on our YouTube channel. And, of course, ultimately, we'd love to have you part of the community, so please subscribe below. Junior, any final thoughts? Or are you good, my man?
I'm good. I'm looking to get this cracked out Tuesday night.
This is going to be a great series, and I hope everybody enjoys it and watches it. I'm Adam.
I'm Junior. See you real soon.